Warning: if you prefer your head coach to be the size of a munchkin, you might be an Alabama fan and find the content of this podcast about Auburn football disturbing.
This is The Eagle's Nest, a podcast about all things Auburn football. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or the Google Play Store. Now, let's talk Auburn football with your host, Brett Mason and Jamie Thomas.
Opening season weekend is upon us. I am Brett Mason. I'm the resident Auburn fan here. My partner in crime, Jamie Thomas, resident Alabama fan. War Eagle, buddy.
Roll, Tide, roll. Man, it's almost football season.
We actually have football tonight. We get a little Thursday night action, just a little SEC stuff happening, just to wet your whistle a little bit. And then Saturday it's on. And God, I really thought this season would never get here. And one of the things I'm going to start the show out with today before we jump into looking ahead to this Auburn game this Saturday is to tell you that I dug around and found the coolest Auburn shirts that I could find to get you pumped up for the season, and I have them linked up, and every week we're going to feature a new piece of Auburn gear on the show. The one that's up there today is really nice, and you can go check it out any week. I try to find something that's on sale. You like a sale, Jamie?
I love a good sale.
This shirt is really, really, really nice.
Is Auburn stuff always on sale, though?
This Auburn shirt is right now is 30% off. And I'll tell you this, I looked earlier today, there are only 16 of them left. So if you want to get this really cool T-shirt, check it out. We have set up a domain specifically for the Auburn gear sale of the week. And it's aushirt.com. AU is in Auburn University, aushirt.com. If you want to head over and check that out, I placed an order for mine. It should be here by Friday. I'm super pumped. Whoop, whoop. Reminder, you can subscribe to us on iTunes or the Google Play Store. You need to search for Crimson Corner and Eagle's Nest. Crimson Corner, Eagle's Nest. Subscribe to the podcast. Check us out online. Several ways you can get to us. Of course, we have southeasternfootball.com. We're also part of the Brett Mason Media Network, brettmasonmedia.com. Having all that said, let's jump right into the game this weekend. I posted an article a little bit earlier that I'm sure you'll laugh at because you're a Bammer. But it was an article about how Auburn could pull up the upset of the decade and beat Clemson this weekend. I tell you one thing that even gave me more hope. I didn't realize the line was so close. Have you seen the Vegas line on this game, Jamie?
I haven't seen the updated. What is it?
7.5.
Really?
I hadn't even checked it until today, and I was getting ready to do the show, and I'm like, well, if I'm going to talk on the show about Auburn's chances pulling off the upset, let's see what Vegas thinks, or where at least where the betting is. I would not have guessed it would have been that tight, man.
I'm going to tell you something close to the end of this podcast. It's going to absolutely blow your mind.
I like having my mind blown, so we'll get right into that. So let's talk about the game this weekend. It's going to be a huge test for Auburn in many ways because there's a lot of unknowns, especially on offense. We've talked about in shows leading up to opening weekend how I'm really hopeful we're going to have a good defense. I think defense is going to keep us in a lot of games, hopefully winning some games that people don't expect us to win. But I'll tell you, that's key number one this weekend is that Auburn defense has got to somehow figure out a way to beat the odds-on Heisman favorite, Deshaun Watson. And you watched some of that last year for the championship game. You can attest personally how difficult that is for anybody to do. Even that defense Alabama had last year, which was a bone-crushing defense.
Oh, I mean, you're talking about the guy who is more than likely going to win the Heisman Trophy. I mean, he's got an outstanding arm. He's a smart quarterback, doesn't make mistakes. He's fast, hard to tackle, hard to bring down. He's hard to rattle, Brett. I mean, he is an excellent quarterback, and he's going to have an awesome year at Clemson. I look for Clemson to really be in the championship hunt all year long.
When you look at his numbers from last year, Jamie, they are mind-boggling. He threw for 4,104 yards and ran for 1,105. I mean, that's video game numbers, man. It's just crazy what the guy can do. So the question is can the Auburn defense do anything with him? I'm hopeful that we'll be able to put pressure on him, but he's one of those quarterbacks that's kind of like Cam Newton was. He tends to get better when you put pressure on him. You can't just put pressure on him. You got to bring him down.
Right.
If you put pressure on him, he's going to buy time. All the routes are going to change. Receivers are going to get open, and he's just going to beat you to death. The question I asked myself is, can Auburn get him on the ground? They get him on the ground, or can they bat a ball down, or can they rattle him enough to get picked or something like that? If Auburn's going to beat him, that's what they got to do.
2 words, Carl Lawson. He's going to have to play lights out. It's going to have to be the best game he's ever played. You go back and look at what Lawson did 2 years ago in the Iron Bowl when he was matched up against what a lot of people thought was one of the best tackles to ever play at Alabama, Cyrus Kwanjo. He dominated Kwanjo that entire football game. I mean, Kwanjo couldn't get a step on him. He was blowing him off the football. He was in A.J. McCarron's face the whole game. And this was against one of the best offensive lines, not just in college football that year, but in the history of college football. So we know Carl Lawson can make the plays. Carl can get in that backfield. He's fast enough to run down Deshaun Watson. He's fast enough to get in his face and force him to make some mistakes. He is going to have a big-time game in order to put Deshaun Watson on his heels.
This Mike Williams is back for Clemson. He was out early last season with that neck injury, but before that kid was a barn burner, man. He's supposedly healthy. He can snatch balls from places you wouldn't think somebody could snatch balls from. He's just one of those people. Like, he's a ball magnet. It's going to be scary back there. What do we got on the back end to help, and how good do I feel about it? Well, Trey Matthews, who last year did some brilliant things and then did some bad things, I thought he was coming along last year and looked much better by the end of the season. Jonathan Ford, who was solid but not brilliant, is going to be back there. I think they're going to have a tough time, Jamie. I hate to keep saying that. I think they're going to have a tough time, but again, I think it's doable. A lot of that's going to depend on what happens up front, though.
Well, there's no doubt this is a huge challenge for Auburn defensively. It's a huge challenge for Auburn offensively. What you're going to find out real quick is what this team is made of, what the players are made of, what the coaching staff is made of. This is a team that can definitely come out and play 4 quarters with Clemson. Talent-wise, they're as good as anyone in the country. I think it's going to be a matter of preparation, and does your coaching staff have this team ready to play football?
Yep, and that's one of those things you just don't know. You assume Clemson is going to be ready because they got a huge chip on their shoulder because they believe they should have won the national championship. I've heard some people say, you go through the whole scenario. If Alabama had played Clemson 10 different games, how many of them would Alabama win and how many of them would Clemson win? I think it'd be pretty close to being split 50-50.
Yeah, I'm thinking 5-5, 6-4, somewhere in that area, yeah.
What Bama did last year was, you remember that 4th down play, which was really big, and they executed, and then there was a couple other huge plays, and that was the difference in that game, really.
Kick return by Kenyon Drake. I mean, that was the game changer. That's what put Alabama up.
The defense is what's going to have to keep them in the game, I believe. It's the teams of Auburn past where the offense just runs up scores like crazy. We don't know if that's possible, but it seems unlikely given the newness of everything from quarterback to running back to receivers. I mean, we could potentially see freshmen first, second game. They're still battling for it, which is a weird place to be in. There's some talented guys there. Don't get me wrong. I posted an interesting question, Jamie, on our Facebook page, which is Auburn Tigers football on SEF, by the way, if you want to go like us. And I asked all the Auburn fans this question, and I'll give you some of their responses to see what you think. Is Shaun White the man to lead the Auburn Tigers to a successful season this year? So here are a couple of the replies. Jeremy Minton said, yes, he is. When you throw for 250 yards in 3 straight games in a mostly run offense, that shows you that he has a lot of ability if he would have just stayed healthy last year. Dwayne Bryant says, Shaun has made many a fool out of people already in football his whole career. I believe he's going to do it again this year. And again, he mentioned the 275 yards in 3 games last year, which I guess is the rallying cry of the Shaun White faithful. And one doubter, Guy Good, said, no, if Auburn was a pocket team, yes, but he's too slow. He can't throw the ball deep, and he can't run the ball, and that's going to cause him to not be able to execute the offense. So,
is that guy's last name spelled Goode?
It is.
He's a Bammer. All those Goods are Bammers. Roll Tide if you're listening, buddy.
Are you related to it?
No, that's not my cousin, but the Goods they have a long history of Bammers.
They come from a long line of Bammers.
They do.
I can't disagree with any of that. I think the kid can pass. I think he showed a little bit of scrambling before he got hurt, but when you injure your knee and then you follow that up by injuring your foot, you're not going to be able to show that you can run. As a matter of fact, he was trying to not be on his legs much at all, if you recall, towards the end of the season. Right. His goal was to get that ball out and get it going. And he had some success with that. So I think downfield will be okay. The problem is we don't have a superstar receiving core, so you have to kind of wonder about that. They're untested. And then opening up the passing game is all about the run, and I think he's going to help. They're going to be probably putting the load on the back of Kerryon Johnson, and we'll see how he does. Can Auburn put up enough offense to beat Clemson is the question. Can they put up enough points to beat Clemson? And boy, you want to talk about something that's tough to do. Clemson is very similar to the Auburn team championship year, where it didn't matter how much you scored, Auburn was just going to keep scoring. And it frustrated the heck out of a lot of teams. And Clemson has that same capability, man. You score, and then they could be up on you by 7 again.
You can't stop them.
So I'm optimistic, Jamie. I'm an Auburn fan, and just like last year, I have optimism that we're going to upset people this year and get a 9 or 10 win season and have great things happen and be set up for next year. I defy you and all the other doubters and supposed realists out there, Jamie Thomas, and I do think it's possible, especially if the betting public and Vegas seems to think it's a 7.5 point game. I'm going to tell you, I think that Gus Malzahn is capable of pulling out magic sometimes in 7.5 point games. Will Auburn be within a score in the fourth quarter is the big question. Boy, it seems unlikely, but I'm just going to go with the professionals in Vegas and say that it will be within 7 points, and we pull out some kind of amazing thing in the fourth quarter and win it by a field goal.
You ready for me to blow your mind?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I don't know if this is going to be good or bad.
Auburn 47, Clemson 39.
47?
47-39.
With a 4? That's 47 with a 4 in front.
Yep, 47-39 Auburn. I'm calling it now. Upset of the weekend. Auburn is going to knock off Clemson 47-39.
I mean, I like it. I have to know where you get those 47 points from. What do you think is going to account for that?
I just feel like, it's been 3 years now. This will be the third year since Auburn's had a magical season. They're due. That's the thing about Auburn. They get down, but they don't stay down for very long. For some reason, I just have this feeling that it's going to be Auburn's year this year. So I'm going with Auburn, 47-39.
47-39. Well, my score prediction is not near. I like yours better. We may just go with yours. I got it 27-24. That's based on hopefully there's some rust in the old offensive gears for Clemson, and our defense plays as good as I think they're capable, and we keep the score down, and we have a miracle field goal in the fourth quarter. So
the Auburn defense is good enough to not necessarily keep Clemson out of the end zone, but I think they can keep them from scoring 50, 55, or 60, which a lot of people seem to think that will be pretty easy for Clemson. That's not the case. I do also believe the defense is going to make some turnovers that are going to turn into easy points for Auburn.
I'm going to tell you, if your score prediction is anywhere near accurate, sir, there is a free dinner at the restaurant of your choice, and that for you.
Don't say that. We're going on a road trip.
What restaurant would that be, Jamie?
I don't know. You'll have to let me think on that one.
All right, we can't end this thing until we talk about our annual Iron Bowl bet, and we're upping the stakes this year.
Are you ready for this?
First of all, you gave me 15 points last week.
That was a little before I had a kind of a different feeling about Auburn's year. Maybe might have jumped the gun just a little bit.
So you don't want to do the 15 now?
How about 9? How about 9.5?
I know it makes me feel good as an Auburn fan, right?
Yeah, I know it makes you feel good.
Since I'm a nice guy, I'll split it with you. We'll split the difference and 12. But you got to give me something because you're already committed to it.
12 it is. That's better than 15.
Well, you told me that you had a plan for what the bet was going to be this year, not something simple like lunch or something.
Oh, no, because you never paid up anyway. So, typical Auburn fan.
I didn't lose the bet last year. There was nothing to pay, brother.
Oh, you did lose the bet last year.
I did not. I had the points, and I didn't have to, brother. We covered. Auburn covered last year. I didn't have to buy no lunch.
You owe me something. Anyway, okay. Here's the bet. This year, when Bama beats Auburn by 12, you have to cover your bumper of your car in Auburn decals.
In Auburn decals? All right.
In Alabama decals. You have to cover your car in Alabama decals. You have to, for 52 weeks, wear an Alabama T-shirt 1 day a week, take a picture of it, post it on social media with a caption that says, Bama at heart, roll tide.
You've lost your mind. I'm going to counter that, and you're going to take my counter because I took your counter on the points.
Okay. All right. Let me hear it.
I'll stick stuff on the car. If I lose the bet, I'll stick stuff on the car, but it can't be sticky stuff. I ain't putting no stickers on my car.
Okay, so the magnet works then.
I'll do magnets, but I don't even put Auburn stickers on my Lincoln. Come on. And flags. I'd be open to doing flags.
2 flat.
This whole year thing, we shrink it down to a month, so it's 4 weeks.
Does it have to be 4 consecutive weeks, or can I pick?
No, I want to do it and get it over with. It'll start whenever. It can start the week right. Well, I'll let you pick what week it starts. How about that?
Oh, the day after the Iron Bowl.
Okay, if that's what you want. I'm just saying, I'll be lenient on that. We can either go the day after the Iron Bowl for 4 weeks, or you can wait till January, you can wait to February, you can wait to whatever. With the understanding that vice versa is true. If you lose, it's the exact same deal.
And every time the phone rings, you have to answer it. Roll Tide, this is Brett Mason. How may I help you?
God. Well, you are confident this year, ain't you?
Yeah, I am.
What's going to happen when you figure out that something was going horribly wrong with your Crimson Tide that you didn't see coming, and suddenly Auburn is having one of them spectacular years? Week 6, you're going to come back begging me to change the bet?
You're going to have to find a new podcast partner. I'm out.
All right, brother, it's a deal. We'll lock it in.
All right, we got it.
We got our Iron Bowl bet locked in, and we got a big college weekend ahead of us. Really excited about it. You're going to get the Bama game starts at 7, then the Auburn game starts at 8. It's a whole weekend of games, and they start tonight. It's going to be a good weekend of college football, and we will talk about it all next week on the show. I look forward to doing it then, man. War Eagle, buddy.
Roll Tide, brother.
The Eagles Nest is part of the Brett Mason Media Network. Online at brettmasonmedia.com. Thanks for listening to the show. If you loved it, please share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes or the Google Play Store. And War Eagle.